Thanks for tuning in, where I overthink every spread, mispronounce half the roster, and swear my picks are Lock City. Go get yourself a drink and enjoy the show, because this is the smartest idiot you know. Hello again, my name's Chris, and I'm your host. This is the smartest idiot you know, and we're back for another Thursday pick episode. I was not here Tuesday. We did not have an episode Tuesday, and that's my bad. Life kind of got in the way there for a minute, and I just did not have time to record. And good thing it was just a recap episode, because really, it's the picks that matters. Not that they mattered last week, because last week was pretty atrocious. Last week was, I think I got 5 or 6 right total, and we're just gonna forget about that week. That week never happened. But in all seriousness, though, last week there were some heartbreakers that happened. But we'll dive into it maybe on Tuesday, when we actually do a recap of this upcoming week, just to keep the length of this episode at a manageable time frame. But we can go over some of the key games that happened last week in next Tuesday's episode. So now that we have that housekeeping out of the way, let's dive right into the NFL slate. Tonight, today is Thursday, we've got Las Vegas versus Denver, and I have the spread at 9, and it could have crept up to 9.5, and depending on what you're looking at, it could have crept down to 8.5. My personal opinion here is really to back the better team here, and the better team is going to be Denver. The Las Vegas is by far one of the worst teams in the league. They have the worst offensive line, and they're just, it's not going to work for them this year. It's really not. They're 2-6. We got Denver at 7-2. Denver could overlook this game. This is definitely a trap game. It could be a trap game, and if you think this is a trap game, then I would shy away. But if you're gonna take this game, you have to take Denver here. I mean, this could be a blowout for Denver, although Denver hasn't really given us much confidence in the last few weeks, because they tend to not perform well in quarters 1, 2, and 3, but then turn it up in Q4. But I think Denver, there's not much you can say where Raiders are going to stop Denver here. And they're playing in Denver. They should be able to run the ball. I mean, Las Vegas' defense and offense ranks are 30. They're ranked, what is that, 30? Yeah, they're ranked 30 in yards per game. Defense, they're ranked 19th in yards per game. You got passing yards, 24. Defense is 21. We're catching a trend here. They're in the high 20s, if not dead last in a lot of the statistical categories. So if I'm taking a game here, I'm taking Denver, and I'll take the points. And if the points don't happen, it's okay. You could always buy it down if you want, right, to 7 if you like that. Maybe get a push if it gets close in the game. But, Denver's either going to win by 7+, or it's going to be a 1 to 3 point game. That's how I feel this game is going to be. It's either going to be a blowout, or Denver. It's going to be a 1 to 3 point league. I do not see Denver losing here, but money line's not an option here. You're going to have to take the points if you want to take this game. So Denver, Thursday, book it. The next game we have is an England game. And my thoughts on England. I like England. I've never been. But I think the NFL over in England has just not really played very well. And things happen over there that it's just the opposite seems to happen. So I don't know if I'm actually going to do anything for this game. But if I did, you have to take the Colts here at 6.5 versus Atlanta. I think Atlanta is a team that I think both of these teams have had a little shaky. They've experienced some turbulence on their flight through the season. Atlanta is sitting at 3-5. Indianapolis is sitting at 7-2. I don't think Atlanta thought that they would be 3-5. I think that they actually thought that they would be more like 5-4, where Carolina is. And what a shock is that? Carolina 5-4, second in an NFC South. You know that Carolina's got something brewing down there, maybe. But Atlanta, I think we all agree Atlanta should not be 3-5, but they are. And it sucks that they're coming up against Indianapolis here, that ranks in the top in all of the offensive categories. I mean, they're literally top 3, actually top 2. The only thing that they're outside of the top 2 in is rushing yards per game. They rush 125, which puts them in 8th. And they actually have a decent defense. I mean, the points per game, they're 7th. They only allow 20 points per game. And they're really good against the run. However, they're not that great against the pass, hence why they went out and got Sauce Gardner, who is dealing with a concussion. But I think he was a full participant, I believe. So we should see him in England. So I would take Indianapolis. The spread is 6.5. I would take Indianapolis just because Indianapolis is the better team here. And England's probably going to put the jinx on, and Atlanta's going to win, maybe. But I would take Indy here. We have a really good matchup on Sunday after the England game, and that's going to be New England versus Tampa Bay. And I will personally say I'd be really excited to watch this game. I really like New England, and I really like Tampa Bay this year. Both one AFC East, leading the AFC East, the other leading the AFC South. And New England does not have a lot of room they don't have a lot of wiggle room. They're 7-2, Buffalo's 6-2. Buffalo's right on their heels there. And New England barely scaped by playing their last game. And that was very uncharacteristic of New England. I think they were a 5.5 point spread in that one. And that was one that probably would wish we could get back. They had a pretty big lead. And then Atlanta just came back. Atlanta came back and it ended up being, I think, a 1 point game. And they definitely didn't cover the 5.5. But this game is 2.5. And Tampa Bay is favored, and it is in Tampa Bay. Chris Godwin is not going to be playing. And with that being said, you know, any other injuries that are happening over there is, it's rough to say. It's rough to say this game. I like that it's 2.5 because in my eyes, that basically makes it a pick 'em. But, Godwin and Bucky did not practice this week. And offensive tackle was limited. Luke Godecki. Probably pronounced that wrong. It's all about Baker. Who's going to emerge here and who's going to play some defense. And is this going to be a low-scoring game? Who's going to control the ball more in this game? And that's what I'm curious to see because it's going to be a test for both teams. Tampa Bay has had a few tests. Some they failed, some they've passed. New England has had a bunch of tests, and they seem to pass, except for this last one they squeaked by. And I don't know if they passed or failed that one. I really just don't like that New England gave up so many points late. They had it, they had control over it, and they gave up. But for this game, I'm going to take New England because they're dogs. And these matchups, I think New England is the better team. I think they're better. You can't say they're better coached. Todd Bowles is a good coach. Statistically, looking at the stat categories, New England leads. They're in Tampa Bay. This is, according to Vegas, this is basically a pick 'em. But I'm gonna go New England. I'm gonna take the dog. Give me the points there, and I might put that at 3, saying that Tampa Bay has to win by 3. Or if they do win by 3, it still pushes. Give me New England versus Tampa Bay there, and I'll be happy. I'll be happy with that. I think it's going to be a good game to watch. Everybody tune into that game and watch it. We have Cleveland versus New York Jets. Oh, these two teams are shit shows, man. There's a lot going on with the Jets, a lot going on with Cleveland. Cleveland, you got the whole QB situation, Shadur Sanders, what's happening with the coach. I mean, that's for another episode to talk just about opinion, what's going on with there. They're going to be starting Dylan Gabriel. Cleveland is 2-6. Jets are 1-7. The spread here is 2.5. And the Jets, they don't even know who they're starting at quarterback. It could be Tyrod Taylor. It could be Justin Fields. Most likely will be Justin Fields against Cleveland. And the big question here is, Cleveland just got rid of their quarterback, not their quarterbacks, but their cornerbacks, their defensive backs. They just got rid of them. They traded They traded Sauce. Who's going to be covering the wide receivers of Cleveland? But then the Jets could be asking themselves, who's throwing the ball to the receivers? Right? And the Jets traded away that defensive tackle to the Cowboys. So who's going to stop the run? Cleveland's not very, statistically speaking, for their categories, not very high. Neither is the Jets. The only thing the Jets do good is they run the ball. They average 143 yards per game on the turf. And that's probably because they have a mobile quarterback. But that's besides the point. Stopping the run is stopping the run. And how does Cleveland stop the run? Well, they're ninth. They're top 10. They only allow 94 yards on the ground. So their defense yards per game is ranked 2. Passing yards. I'm going Cleveland here. They're favored against the Jets. But this is a shit bowl. Who's going to emerge? What turd is going to emerge out of this bowl as the winner here? And I say it's going to be Cleveland. But, I can't stress it enough. These two teams, can we go into 2027, please, for these two teams? These two teams cannot wish it's 2027 or 2026. I'm sorry. Or maybe 2027. The Cleveland has been waiting, I don't know how many years to be decent. And the Jets are in the same category. But I do think Aaron Glenn could probably potentially turn it around. He needs a quarterback. He needs a lot. He might be able to turn it around. I just don't know if they're going to be patient enough with him. Cleveland, good luck, Cleveland. Good luck. You botched the whole Shadur Sanders thing. And I'm not saying that Sanders would be great in the league because I really don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed. Sometimes I think he would be, and others at times I think he wouldn't. I think players would rally around him. I really do think that. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but Baker Mayfield has that type of impact. If you can get players to rally around you, if the talent isn't there 100%, and the coaching is there, you can still win games. You can still be considered a good player, a great player. And, I'm not diminishing the talent of Baker Mayfield, but Baker fits in that categories. And, it's ironic Cleveland got rid of him. That's a guy that people would run through walls for. And I think Shadur can kind of be the glue for a team. And when your quarterback is the glue for the team, that you got a good team going. And for whatever reason, they got some weird stuff happening in Cleveland. But enough of that. We're going to go to Baltimore and Minnesota here. For me, this is a no-brainer. I'm going Baltimore. I don't have faith in Minnesota. I don't have faith in JJ. I know that last week was not the case, but Baltimore is still, they're trying to fight top the AFC North, which they most likely will win the AFC North at the end of the season. They're 2 games behind Pittsburgh at the top spot. They're 3-5. And then you got Minnesota, it's 4-4. And I hate to say it for Minnesota. Minnesota, you don't have, unless Chicago falters, you really don't have a shot. Detroit's not going to falter, and Green Bay is probably going to keep coasting. So your only shot of doing anything is you got to beat out Chicago, but then you also have to beat out Detroit, because I don't think 3 teams are going to be coming out of the NFC North. I could be wrong. And we can look at that because, you got the NFC West with the Seattle and the Rams. Yeah, we'll get to that later maybe. We'll get to that later. But, I'm going to go Baltimore here. John Harbaugh, the defense is playing pretty good for Baltimore. They've had some injuries, and they're getting healthy again. And I think Derrick Henry is gonna get some use here, because Minnesota is 20th in rushing. They allow 122 yards per game, and all Baltimore has to do is just pound it. And the key thing about these games is you don't have to win by 15. Baltimore has to win by 4, and I think they will. I think Baltimore will win by 7, 6, 7, maybe a little more. Who knows? It could be a blowout. You never know. But I favor Baltimore in that one. You got Buffalo and Miami. I do not like this game. Buffalo, they're 6-2, right? And they've won their games, which is great. If I had to pick who wins, yeah, Buffalo. But do they win by 9.5? You're saying 10 points here against Miami, which Miami, put them in the same category as the Raiders, Cleveland, the Jets, New Orleans. You can put them in the same category. I would say Houston, but Houston's got 3 wins. And Houston's got a good defense. But, we look at Miami, and, Miami has done some things that, has been a little unexpected. But Miami is still reeling. I think if they beat Buffalo, it's going to be just sheer coincidence. Some October, Friday 13th type stuff, even though we're in November, for Miami to beat Buffalo. I got Buffalo here. I'm going to take the points again with Buffalo. I just, I get burned. That's really how you have to how you have to look at it. Is Miami at 9.5? That's a big spread for Buffalo, though. That's what's killing me, is that big spread for Buffalo, and that's why I don't like this game, because Buffalo, it's a division game. Miami's 2-7. You got a coach on a hot seat. Is he on the hot seat though? Is Mike McDaniel on the hot seat? I don't know, because he lost Hill. He's had some injuries. I don't know. Miami's got some injuries. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Cook. Cook may not play. He's limited. I will say this: if Cook can't play, I'm not buying 9. I'm not taking 9. So this game really has to do with injuries. Buffalo, they're top in rushing. They run 161 yards per game. If they can't run the ball, if Cook isn't available, then I have to lean. I would lean no, but not taking a side. But if Cook's not available, you have to kind of lean Miami. But if Cook's available, then I'm leaning Buffalo. And that's kind of weird with the 10-point spread, but that is what it is. But Cook, he may not. He may not. So take that one. Maybe leave that one off your slip. I don't know, unless you're confident. But pay attention to the injury report. Pay attention to the injury report on all these games. I try to do this on Thursday, where most of the injury reports are kind of not set in stone, but they're, you kind of had a feeling who practiced all week and who didn't, who's limited, who's probably going to be out. And, they don't play until Sunday. So, and I'm not following up. But you need to look at the injury report. Jacksonville and Houston. This is similar. Like, I don't like this game either. I don't like this game either because Jacksonville has really burnt me. They're 5-3. Houston is 3-5. Houston's got a really good defense, but they're not playing with Stroud. Stroud's got a concussion, and Jacksonville, Thomas, he may not play, and I don't know what type of impact it's going to. Well, I mean, they're going to be missing Hunter and Thomas potentially. I mean, it's not for sure that he's out. He could play. If Thomas is playing, I'm gonna take Jacksonville. I'll take Jacksonville here, only because I do like Jacksonville's defense to maybe hold Houston at bay. I don't know why I said Hudson. In a way, I guess it could be pronounced Hudson, right? Houston. No, Houston is playing with Mills. So, yeah, Jacksonville. I got Jacksonville. We got New Orleans and Carolina. I'm taking Carolina here. This is a divisional game as well. And New Orleans is 1-8, although they've been kind of keeping track with some teams late in games. If New Orleans can jump early here, that could be good for New Orleans. But I kind of I'm starting to like Carolina's game. They're middle of the pack on defense, which is just enough to allow your offense to play. They're not doing the greatest on passing, throwing the ball here, putting the ball in the air, but rushing the ball, they're doing really well rushing. And Rico, he is limited. But Carolina's got a stable though. So I mean, it's not like it just has to be Rico in that offense. Rico was a castaway from the Cowboys. So I mean, he's not the savior of Carolina. I mean, he's broken out and he's had some really good runs and really good games, but I think that's more to the game plan than it is, and the coaching, than it is necessarily to, the star power of Rico. Rico is a good player, though. I'm not trying to diminish that talent in any way. But I got Carolina at 5.5, which means they're going to have to win by 6, and I will take that against New Orleans. But this is a game that New Orleans, if they jump ahead, it being a divisional game, and if it is low scoring, you can kiss 6 points away. Goodbye. You can kiss 6 points goodbye. But I'm going to stick with Carolina and lock that in. We got New York Giants versus Chicago. The spread's going to be 4.5. And the Giants are kind of reeling. Scottaboo really messed them up with that injury. They're missing Neighbors. The defense isn't necessarily coming through. And Jackson Dart is kind of lost with Scottaboo being injured. And they're going up against Chicago, which I think Chicago is going to be able to put some points on them. I really do. And the beginning of the year, I was kind of fading Chicago a little bit. And the more they play, the more Ben Johnson's kind of selling me on what he's trying to do for the team. And I hope that Chicago comes through and they put away a pretty pitiful Giants team. Even though the Giants are 2-7 last in the NFC East. The NFC East is a poor showing. Dallas 3-5-1, Washington 3-6, and the Giants 2-7. You got Chicago 5-3 right there in the mix, It's a three-way tie. I know Green Bay has a tie at 5-2-1, but Chicago's really making a run. You know, they're keeping in there. And I think Chicago covers 5 here, 4.5. So I'm going to go with Chicago, even though I don't really like Caleb Williams, but I like how they're playing. I think they can stifle the Giants here and, get the W. And we got the interesting game here, Arizona and Seattle. It's not interesting in the say that, who's going to win or who's going to cover. I mean, it's a lock. Seattle 6.5. I'm by 7. Seattle should take care of this. But, and it's NFC West division game. I understand. Yeah. Okay, great. Seattle 6-2, Arizona 3-5. But the big story is the QB situation. Jacoby Brissett is going to start again, and Jacoby Brissett is a decent backup quarterback. And he's definitely outperforming Kyler Murray. I mean, what does the future look like for Kyler Murray? I think what I've been saying all along since I've started these episodes, at least for this football season, Kyler Murray is not the QB for the Arizona Cardinals. And I don't know if he's going to be a QB for a team in the league, actually. I mean, the leadership is just not there. And, it is interesting that they keep making Jacoby Brissett the quarterback. They keep naming him the quarterback. I don't like Jonathan Gannon as a coach. I'm not a big fan of him as a coach for over there. I don't think he's a good fit. But they're going to continue to ride that until the wheels fall off. But the QB, I take it back to the Cliff Kingsbury days. They never should have got rid of Cliff Kingsbury. See, there I am pronouncing things wrong again. They never should have got rid of Cliff. They should have got rid of Kyler, is what they should have did. It's a hard choice, and it's a hard take to have. And not everybody's going to agree with that. But, I mean, look what's happening now. Look at the shit that they're dealing with now. I mean, it's right there. It's unfolding right before our eyes. And Kyler Murray's got a lot to change if he wants to be good in this league. He's a good player. He's a talented player. He just he doesn't show the leadership and the way that he plays. And I'm not saying he doesn't prepare, but you can see in his game. It makes you ask, where's the preparation? But I mean, this game, Seattle's offense is just too powerful, and their defense is just too powerful. The only way that Seattle loses this game is if they overlook Arizona. But this is a divisional game, and I don't think they're going to overlook a divisional game. I mean, watching Darnold play is pretty nifty. I mean, he started 17 for 17. I think they said that tied a record. And then I think, who was it? Chris Collinsworth that jinxed it, I guess, maybe. I don't know. I think it was a running joke. But anyways, I mean, you got Darnold, and Darnold's got some receivers to throw to. They can run the ball, and they have a defense. I do like what Mike McDonald's done over there. They got a decent offensive coordinator. And I think Aiden, as their defensive coordinator, or Clint's our offensive coordinator, Aiden, their defensive coordinator, that's a good hire. That's a good one over there in Seattle. Familiar, similar systems to the Legion of Boom. And, because that's what he tried to do over in Dallas with Dan Quinn, with the defensive lineman, I believe. But, Seattle, 6.5. Put that down. We got the Rams in San Francisco. Here, I'm going to take the favorite here with the Rams. San Francisco's still dealing with injuries, but injuries, this is also another divisional game. Injuries seem to not impact San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco is 6-3. The Rams are 6-2. And this is a team that I would say, you have to decide, are 3 teams coming out of the NFC North or 3 teams coming out of the NFC West? NFC West has got Seattle, Rams, and San Francisco. If San Francisco gets healthy, it's inevitable they could run the table, right? But the Rams aren't going anywhere, and Seattle isn't going anywhere. So what gives? Well, Chicago has the biggest potential to go off the rails. Detroit I think, has the best potential to win the NFC North. And Green Bay has, they could be one that might get in as a second team in the NFC North, or they could go off the rails like Chicago, because Green Bay isn't necessarily playing up to Green Bay type football this year. It's in streaks. But we're talking about the Rams and San Francisco here. And I would go Rams 5 here. The spread is 4.5. They're playing in San Francisco. I just like the way the Rams play football. They should be 7-1. They should have beat the Eagles. And San Francisco, one would say that they shouldn't be 6-3, but they are 6-3. They've been playing their butts off. Great coaching on their side. They've dealt with injuries. They deserve to be rewarded with a win here, right? But you have to earn it. You have to earn it, and you have to fight for it. And if they're going to fight against the Rams, I think the Rams are going to prevail. So give me Rams 4.5. We got Detroit versus Washington. Detroit's an 8-point favorite here at Washington. Washington lost their QB. They're down receivers. Washington's a mess, and not because of coaching. I mean, Washington, you talk about Washington as having to flip script as San Francisco. San Francisco gets all these detrimental injuries, and they whop out with they rip off a 6-3 record. Washington gets the same injuries, detrimental injuries, and they rip off a 3-6 record. They got to be like, what do I have to do to get the success that San Francisco has? And it's not coaching. I mean, you put Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury together. I mean, that's decent coaching. Joe Witt as defensive coordinator. That remains to be seen with the defense, because the defense is ranked pretty bad as it stands right now, and a lot of that could be playing with backup quarterbacks and injuries. But I still think a fully healthy squad, that defense is still going to be bad. Detroit is Detroit. We know what Detroit is. They have 3 losses. Yep. But I got 8. People have been able to cover against Washington pretty easily. So I would say Detroit's going to be just fine with that. Pittsburgh and the Chargers. Look, Pittsburgh did what they needed to do against Indy. Are they going to be able to do the same against the Chargers? That's a big question. That is a big question. This is also going to be a Sunday night game. Pittsburgh is, I don't want to say Pittsburgh's back, but Aaron Rodgers is doing something with Pittsburgh. I mean, they're up top the AFC North, although I think Baltimore is going to end up winning the AFC North, but Pittsburgh's 5-3. And all of their statistical categories are middle of the pack, trending towards high 20s or mid 20s. And you got the Chargers, they're 6-3, and they're one of the teams that have been pretty inconsistent. They've been inconsistent because of injuries, yes. But that doesn't necessarily, like, they shouldn't have 3 losses. There's been times when the Chargers play has just not really been great. They haven't been really playing winning football, it seems like, at times. And so I don't know if they'll beat Pittsburgh by 3 here. I thought Indy had a small spread versus Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh came out and they did what Pittsburgh did. I mean, Pittsburgh, they handled Indianapolis. Yeah, Indy kind of came back at the end, right? There was a second-ditch effort to try to win. But the Pittsburgh, they had the game the whole time. They got the lead and never looked back. They weren't worried. They weren't sweating it. Is that going to happen here? I don't know. Can they do it 2 in a row? I vote no. I'm going to go Chargers -3 against Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm going to do Chargers. Give me Justin Herbert, even though Rodgers obviously is the better pedigree, but I'm going to take the Chargers here. It's in LA. I think the Chargers will prevail against Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh can do it 2 games in a row. And it's on Sunday night, so Chargers -3. The last game of the week is we got Philly versus Green Bay. And I think Philly and Green Bay is going to be a decent game. For here, I mean, I think it's a toss-up between the two. It's a coin flip. It's going to be on Monday night. Monday Night Football, Phillies tends to show out. That's the game that Jalen Hurts will throw 3 touchdowns for. And I'm not too concerned about injuries on both sides here. Both teams lead their divisions. A win for either team is just going to enhance that lead, especially for Philly. And I think Philly wins. Philly is a dog. They're 2.5-point dogs. I think Philly wins here. I think, there's something, Murph said it a few weeks back, of something brewing down in Philly. And I think, Philly is fine. I know they wanted to shore some stuff up on their defensive side, but really their offense has been suffering. I hope the personalities are aligning in that locker room between Hurts and Smith and Goddard and Brown and Barkley. I mean, we really want Barkley to catch fire here. Will they? Well, let's see. Green Bay. No, I don't know. Green Bay's defense pretty good. They got Michael Parsons. All their statistical categories are in top 10 except for takeaways. And what team is number 1 in protecting the ball? That's Philadelphia. They don't turn it over. But they also don't get takeaways either. They're ranked 23rd in the league. So, I mean, they did go out and get some help for defense. But, I think if they can run the ball here, which they do, they run a lot. If they can run the ball here, they should be able to beat Green Bay. And how you beat Green Bay is you're going to have to get into a lead and control the ball. Take the ball away from them. Keep it out of their hands. Do not let them get the ball in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter is 15 minutes, right? So you need to control the ball at least for 9 minutes in that quarter. Control the ball 9 minutes with the lead, and you're going to win against Green Bay. Do not let them come back. Do not let them have a final drive with the game on the line to either tie or win. Odds are if you tie with Green Bay and you go to overtime, you're going to tie in overtime because they have one. They did it with the Cowboys. I mean, Philadelphia is not explosive as the Cowboys in offense, and that was 40-40. But I do think Philadelphia, I'm not going to say they explode here, but I do think they handle Green Bay by more than 3. So I'm going to pick Green Bay. And just to do a recap real quick of all of the picks here, I've got for Thursday night, give me Denver -9. For England, give me Indianapolis -6.5 versus Atlanta. I've got New England +2.5. I've got Cleveland -2.5. Give me Baltimore -4. I do not have a pick for Buffalo versus Miami because it's going to depend on the final injury report because of the spread. Spread's 9.5, but I'm going to pick Buffalo for right now, 9.5. If Cook doesn't play, then I'm probably taking my pick down, and I'm going to do a no pick for that game. Jacksonville versus Houston. We got Jacksonville -2. And then I also have Carolina -5.5. We got Chicago -4.5. Seattle -6.5. Give me the Rams -4.5. Give me Detroit -8. Give me the Chargers -3 and Philly +2.5. And that's going to be the picks for this Sunday. Hopefully I have a better week than last weekend, but you know, sometimes that's why it's an 18-week season. You're not going to hit them a home run every single week. But yeah, those are going to be my picks, and I will see you guys next Tuesday when we do the recap, and I will add in the recap of the previous week for the episode we missed. But yeah, we're on all platforms. So I don't know if you know or not, but we're on all platforms. When I say all, the major platforms, we are on Spotify, we are on YouTube, and we are on Apple Podcasts. And all you have to do is just search The Smartest Idiot You Know, because that's the name of our show. Sometimes I like to think I'm the smartest idiot you might know. And anybody that is going to be a co-host on here would fall under that mantra. Hopefully, this show is the smartest idiot you know. So give us a like, give us a subscribe, and give us a comment. I'm happy to do comments. If you leave comments, I will actually interact during the show with those. It won't be live, but it will be, as I see those comments, I'll address those in a following subsequent show. But yeah, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a comment. And as always, good luck.